Yeah, we can have that show. Yeah. If you can save. There we go. Okay, the other thing behind this is that one thing I want to. This is how I made my first one. Control. So.
You know that. That's why you don't live here.
There we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Wolverine Caucus. We are excited to be able to offer these forums sponsored by the UM Alumni Association and the Office of the Vice President for Government Relations. Now, one of the things we like to do is consider that perhaps these forums are helping us to change the world one forum at a time. And so we invite people who are doing outstanding things in this bicentennial year of the University of Michigan, which started 200 years ago as a small medical college in Detroit. And look at how it has grown over these 200 years to be the leaders and the best in every subject area. Now, one of the areas that we haven't had a chance to talk about much in the Wolverine Caucus forums is Michigan athletics and how it not only shapes our culture as competing teams around the world, but the way it shapes character and the way it shapes leaders. So today we have someone who embodies all of that. We have a person who's been a U.S. Olympian. That is amazing. Dr. Jeff Porter is here, and Greg Harden, who is Executive Associate Athletic Director of the Athletic Department at the University of Michigan. But to introduce them is Ben Eikey. Ben is one of our illustrious UM alums. We're very proud of Ben. He is Legislative Director to Representative Dave Pagel. He is Secretary of the UM Club of Greater Lansing Board, and Ben is a graduate of the university's Literature, Science, and the Arts Division in Political Science and Philosophy. You know, it takes a lot of political science and philosophy training to work in the Michigan legislature as effectively as he has done. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Ben Eikey, and go blue.
Go blue. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming on out. My name is Ben Eikey. I'm currently Legislative Director for State Representative Dave Pagel. I am currently pinch hitting because the legislature is all currently on in-district work period, so happy to be here with all of you today. How about this, a bicentennial, 200 years. This is amazing. What an incredible university, and what a pleasure to be a part of it. It's truly a privilege to be here today with all of you. I'd like to introduce Dr. Jeff Porter. Dr. Porter is the Director of Alumni Engagement for the University of Michigan Athletic Department. He's an Olympian, two-time Olympian, London 2012 and Rio 2016. Pretty excited to hear what he has to say. And I'm pretty sure the first question I have for him is, did JT Barrett get that first down? I gotta know. Because I've seen every angle of that, I've watched it again and again, and I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced. But I am convinced that you're going to be a great speaker. So everybody, Dr. Porter.
Thank you, Ben.
the Michigan faithful don't think that J.T. Barrett got the first down, and we're going to hold on to that from now until. So I think it's the afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. It is truly my pleasure to speak with you all here today. Before I begin, I want to say that due to prior engagements, our athletic director, Mr. Ward Manuel, could not attend today, but he sent me, so I'm pinch hitting for him. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce the Executive Associate Athletic Director, Mr. Greg Harden. Now, the reason I brought Mr. Harden today is because most people know all of the triumphs of all of our student athletes. Most people don't realize that Michigan's secret weapon is, in fact, Mr. Greg Harden. So, during my preparation, I began to reflect upon the athletic department representatives that have been here with you previously. I learned that Dave Brandon, our former athletic director, and Carol Hutchins, our softball coach, has been with you before, and they share with you their different experiences. With that in mind, I wondered to myself aloud, what could I offer to this conversation? Well, we're here at the University of Michigan celebrating our bicentennial. 200 years of Michigan athletics. We had the True Blue event a couple of weeks ago, and there was another avenue for Michigan to showcase its reach from the moon to the fields. And so, as you can imagine, this preparation wasn't quite easy for me. I was like, okay, what are we going to talk about? But our bicentennial provides me an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper and consider some of the stories of our students, but more importantly, our student athletes, who have in their own way added to the legacy and leadership of Michigan. So think about it this way. The University of Michigan is the foundation on which the student athletes stand, reinforcing to the world that here at the University of Michigan, we specialize in doing the impossible. And so let's look at an example, shall we? Let's consider one of our most famous alums, President Gerald R. Ford, who many of us know played linebacker and center for the Wolverines, but few of us actually consider that he was part of 2 national championship teams in 1932 and in 1933. Furthermore, it is an important fact to consider that President Ford is the University of Michigan's sole representative in the Oval Office, and he was, in fact, a student athlete. At Michigan, our student athletes, and yes, I'm going to stress student athletes, are taught to become leaders on and off the field of play in every arena from the Oval Office to the boardroom, while learning that they are part of something bigger than themselves. Legendary head football coach Glenn Schembecker taught us all at Michigan an important lesson as he echoed those words: no man is more important than the team. No coach is more important than the team. The team, the team, the team. Everywhere you look, you can find a Michigan student athlete doing something thought to be impossible. For example, many of us know this famous story of Jesse Owens, but few of us actually know that the first African-American individual Olympic gold medalist was a University of Michigan alum by the name of William D. Hart Hubbard in Paris, 1924. What our student athletes have done and will do is what causes us to believe in the impossible. Another great example is Mickey King. Most folks don't know who Mickey King is. Mickey King won the Olympic gold medal in the 3-meter springboard in 1972, before the subsequent passage and enactment of Title IX in 1973. Her career didn't stop there, however. Mickey King was an officer in the United States Air Force, earned the rank of colonel, and became the first woman to serve on the faculty of a U.S. military academy and the first woman to coach an athlete at the NCAA championship before she retired in 1992. Have you thought about that 1989 men's basketball championship that defied the odds against all expectations? Or that 2003 men's basketball team led by Trey Burke, who were severe underdogs against Kansas, but somehow ended up victorious on their way to the Final Four. What about the men's basketball team this year? They survived a plane accident on the way to a Big Ten tournament, their number 8 seed, and somehow squeezed out a victory and became Big Ten champions on their way to the NCAA tournament. Many of us know these big triumphs, but since I'm on the subject of basketball, let's take, for instance, somebody that you may not have heard about. The athlete's name is Austin Hatch. Austin Hatch was involved in a small plane accident at the age of 8. He lost his mother, his brother, and his sister. 8 years later, he was involved in another small plane accident. This one took the lives of his father, his stepmother, a family dog, and left him in a coma for 2 months. Doctors told him he'll never walk or talk again. 8 months of painful rehab, Austin Hatch, who had previously accepted a scholarship to play basketball at the University of Michigan, walked onto the court in 2014 when Michigan played Coppin State. He was fouled on a 3-point play. He hit his free throw and actually made it into the Michigan record book forever. Coach Beeline never gave up on him, and neither did Michigan. He defied his doctor's expectations. Well, because at Michigan, that's what we do. Since Coach Hutt spoke here before, I would be remiss if I didn't mention her. Her 2005 National Championship softball team became the first school east of the Mississippi to claim the NCAA Division I softball championship. It is not only that team, but every other student athlete who played for Hutch said the exact same thing. Jenny Ritter, who's an All-American pitcher, said, "Sometimes I can still hear Kutch's voice in the lessons she taught me about life." Our coaches at Michigan are more than X's and O's. They're more than wins and losses. Their job is to get our student athletes to believe. So let me pause here for a moment and share with you another story. This story drives home a little bit more of the impossible, which I'm trying to really convey with you all today. Watching the football team in 1997 win the national championship, there was a young athlete who aspired to go to the University of Michigan. Not knowing much about the state and thinking that somehow Ann Arbor was misspelled, this young athlete knew he was going to Michigan. Working hard for several years, this young athlete soon became recruited by many colleges. But hold on to hope that Michigan would soon come calling. And they did. The coaches that were recruiting this young athlete said, "We see something in you. We want you to be a Wolverine." Elated and hesitant, at the same time, the coaches knew how to get a commitment out of this kid. So while on a recruiting trip to the University of Michigan, the coaches brought this athlete, although he was not a football player, to Schembechler Hall, where he was afforded the opportunity to meet the legend himself, Mr. Glenn Bo Schembechler. He was truly a larger-than-life figure, and his voice was as memorable as it was powerful. It rang through the halls of Schembechler Hall. After some pleasant introductions from the coaches that were recruiting this young athlete, they left the room. Bo sat across the table from this young student athlete and said nothing. He said nothing for several moments, which seemed like several eternities. Finally, he broke the silence and said, "Son, I'm going to make this easy for you. Here at Michigan, we changed the world. You can go to one of those other schools and be average, or you can come to Michigan and be legendary." This young athlete left Coach Schembechler's office and soon after committed to Michigan. Over the next several years, this young athlete had some successes on and off the field, but continued to be pushed by the Michigan community. This young athlete won the national championship in 2007, but again knew there was more to do. This young athlete continued to work hard in the classroom, on the field of play for the next several years, earned a master's degree, and defied expectations by earning a spot on the 2012 London Olympic team, beating out the USA national record holder and the undisputed favorite. This young student athlete didn't stop there. This young athlete continued to work hard over the next 4 years, dealing with adversities, challenges, but somehow he found the time to earn a PhD and became one of only 6 men in history to repeat in his event and qualify for the 2016 Olympic team again. Who is this young athlete? This young athlete is me. The coaches and staff at the University of Michigan continue to reinforce the idea of hard work because we are expected to change the world, which is no small feat in and of itself. This story doesn't solely belong to me, however. My wife, another University of Michigan graduate from the College of Pharmacy, qualified for both the 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games. We became the first husband and wife combination to compete at consecutive Olympic Games in the same event. Oh, and before I forget, my wife has a younger sister who is a University of Michigan graduate from the College of Education. She won the NCAA championship. She joined us in Rio, and she competed in the same event as we all did. So therefore, in my family, again, we're north of the Mason-Dixon line, which you're not supposed to be able to run fast. In my family, we have 7 NCAA titles. I share this story not to brag or to boast about me, but I want to try to illustrate this true essence of what we call Michigan athletics. Michigan is where we learn to challenge the conventional beliefs and dare to dream. Leaders and best isn't simply a slogan or a catchy phrase. It's what we do. Michigan athletics has the incredible power of unity. Nowhere is this more evident in the packed stands, the packed living rooms, the packed bars, across the country watching our student athletes dominate their competition. Regardless of race, gender, religion, political affiliation, nationality, we can all agree on one thing. Michigan athletics, we're the cream of the crop. Fielding H. Yost, former football head coach at Michigan, said it best. He said, but do let me reiterate the spirit of Michigan. It is based upon a deathless loyalty to Michigan in all her ways. An enthusiasm that makes it second nature for Michigan men to spread the gospel of their university to the world's distant outposts. A conviction that nowhere is there a better university in any way than this Michigan of ours. As I conclude, I'll leave you with this. One of the best explanations of what it's like to be a Michigan student athlete came from a field hockey player, Shelly Johnson, 1996. She sums up her experience in a way I think captures what we at Michigan look forward to and how we try to develop all of our student athletes. She said, here at Michigan, Olympians coach me, Nobel Prize winners lecture me, I eat lunch with All-Americans. In the athletic training room, I sit next to Big Ten champions. I meet with prize-winning authors during the office hours. I take class notes next to American record holders. I walk to class with members of national championship teams. I open the doors once opened by Oscar-winning actors, former presidents, and astronauts. It's all in the day of a Michigan student athlete. Thank you, and go Blue. At this moment, I'll entertain any questions if you have them. Yes, sir.
If you're going to the Olympics again, can I get some tickets?
Yes, you can. Now, I want to, since we're talking about the Olympics, I want to, actually this is for you as well. I told a couple folks here I had a surprise. Remember, one of the things I want to encourage and to continue to reinforce is the idea of doing the impossible. If you qualify, in order to qualify for Team USA, which is, we call it the hardest team to make, there's only 3 spots. On that day. What you did the day before doesn't matter. What you did the day after doesn't matter. And so I was an underdog, like I said before. And so I'm racing against the soon-to-be Olympic champion and American record holder, world record holder, the soon-to-be Olympic silver medalist and previous American record holder. And there's just me. I wasn't born with some crazy ability. I just had a tenacious work ethic. And that's what kept pushing me time and time again. I lost my father in 2008 at the Olympic trials, actually. Before I went to Olympic trials, I lost my father. And he told me he had a belief in Michigan, he had a belief in me that I could do something that no one thought possible. So we get to the 2012 Olympic trials. And what happened? By some act of God, this guy named Jeff Porter makes the finals, which in and of itself is a feat. There's 8 lanes. In 8 lanes, you have some of the fastest people in all of the world. And remember, I said it takes 3 spots. Doesn't matter what you did on that day or before, it only takes 3 spots. And so I share this picture with you because I think it captures the essence of what we do at Michigan. And I'm going to say this one more time. It takes 3 spots, separated by tens of thousands of seconds. How I earned my spot on the 2012 Olympic team the first time was this.
That's you in the air?
This guy is me. This guy was first, this guy was second, and this guy decided to fly through the air for the 3rd spot. So when I talk about what we do at Michigan, I don't talk about what another student athlete does or what another university does. I talk about what we've experienced, what I've experienced, what I've seen our student athletes do. Yes, sir?
What was the distance?
110-meter high hurdles. So the hurdles are, as some point of reference, the hurdles are about 3.5 feet tall. So I'm 6 foot, and the hurdles are about here. Yes, ma'am? I did my dissertation examining the experiences of black male student athletes who graduated from a Big Ten institution. A lot of our research shows that student athletes, especially those that play football, are underprepared, don't really care about school, and a lot of times they don't graduate. What I decided was to look at those who did graduate. Because something tells me that if we have a history of football student athletes doing big things, why not look at the ones who did graduate? John Runyon, he was a New Jersey State representative. He was elected to the U.S. House, and he played football. So we can't all be too bad, right? So that's what I looked at, and I found a key piece, and which is one of the reasons why Mr. Harden is one of our secret weapons. Because regardless if you're a student or a student athlete, somewhere along the road of college athletics, somewhere along the road of college, you're going to need some help. You're going to need some support. You're going to need some guidance. And that is what a lot of us try to provide for our student athletes after dealing with football, or for me it was track, class, travel, training, getting hurt, death in the family, cancer. Those kind of things are real life. And trying to navigate that environment is challenging for everybody. And then I'm going to throw on your athletic load. And then we're going to see how you deal with that. And so that's the kind of focus that my dissertation took.
So the demands on a student athlete, especially at a prestigious school, are huge. What aren't we doing to support them? What could we be doing better? Even if it requires NCAA changes.
Besides the NCAA changes, I think the NCAA is going in the right direction. They just passed legislation not too long ago that one day of the week, the student athletes are not allowed to come down to campus. And we're trying to push them onto campus because we actually need to truly encourage our student athletes to be part of the larger university environment. We expect them to win on the field because that's what they do. We expect them to be great students. But one thing that I don't think we do, and this is an entirety of the NCAA, I don't think we do a good job of keeping them, pushing them so to campus. We try to keep them in-house. One of the universities, I'm not going to mention anybody's name, built a brand new several $1 million facility. And they had beds in the football building. Why? No, get those kids, get those student athletes on campus and let them experience. And so to answer your question, one of the things that I think we can do and what we will be doing at Michigan is A, understanding our student athletes' time demands. B, that we're going to push them and encourage them to meet professors, to meet the faculty members, the staff members. And so now you get appreciation for Michigan athletics. And C, I'm going to work on cloning him. And so we can put him around the university. But more folks that actually care about student athletes that we can put in front of our student athletes so that folks know that, hey, I care about you as a person, more importantly than anything else. And as if I care about you, you're going to listen to me, and now you're going to go out and be the best student and be the best student athlete you can possibly be.
What city and state were you born and raised in?
I was-
What high school did you attend?
I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I'm a Jersey boy. And I went to Franklin High School.
Yes, you know, athletes, pro athletes, I guess their motivation is paid. And they were talking about at one time, college student athletes being paid besides, you know, I know they're getting scholarships. And if that's one person who's the star of the team is getting paid the same thing as another person who gets a 4-year ride on athletic scholarship. So would you think that they did add money in some type of way for student athletes? You think that would motivate them even more, or is it just that coach that knows how to bring this stuff on the young kids?
It's a very good question. I'm not entirely sure that money for student athletes is a key motivator. It is to some degree. But if you're looking at, I can come to Michigan and get an education. And the reason why I stress that piece is because a lot of athletes leave college or they leave high school and go straight to professional ranks. One thing most of those athletes will say is, I wish I'd have finished my degree. And so, would it be a motivating thing? For some, it would. But I think one of the things that I can come to Michigan and focus, because again, if you're of this level, you're not just getting recruited by Michigan. You're getting recruited by the Alabamas of the world in football, the Ohio States of the world. If you're in basketball, you're getting recruited by the Kentuckys and Louisvilles. If you're in track and field, it's the SEC, the entire SEC. And so if I want to go and really focus on going pro, I'd go to one of those schools that has a 0% graduation rate. But I'm coming to Michigan. And there's a reason why I'm coming to Michigan. I'm coming to Michigan because they can offer me the best in the athletic venue. And they can offer me something that a lot of student athletes, a lot of our parents don't really have the opportunity to say. I'm offering you the opportunity to get a Michigan degree. Long after you're done, that picture hurts, by the way. And long after my track career is done, I'll be able to hold proud that Michigan degree.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand Braylon Edwards has come back. Which it seems to me should be a bigger story than it is, because I can totally understand a guy saying, hey, the money's on the table, I gotta go get it, and then come back and get your degree. Have you found other athletes, student athletes doing that, and what's being done to you know, I'm very happy, I'm very proud of him for doing that.
To answer your question, we have a program at Michigan that our student athletes who leave school early, go to the professional ranks, go different ventures of life, they actually can come back and finish the degree. And we encourage them to come back and finish your degree. Braylon Edwards was on my track team when I was a freshman. And so, yes, he left and he played in the league, and had a pretty successful career. But the fact that he's coming back now, and we actually made an opportunity for him to come back. I'll get you a story, and I forget this gentleman's name off the top of my head right now, but we had a gentleman who left Michigan and didn't graduate, and this was back in the 70s, late 70s. He finished his degree last year. And so we're encouraging all of our student athletes who haven't finished their degrees to come back. As a matter of fact, and I'll tell you one other story, is that there's a guy, I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of him. There's a guy named Tyrone Wheatley. I said, how long have you heard of him?
I know what's his name.
Tyrone Wheatley was an All-American in track. Actually, in the men's 110 meter high hurdles, but not an All-American in football. Tyrone left to go play in the league for 11 years. And then Tyrone comes back. And as an athlete, I was excited to see Tyrone on the track. Like, hey, I have your autographed jersey. And I asked him, what are you doing here? He said, I'm coming to finish my degree. As a young student athlete, you just played in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Like I saw you. He said, I'm going to finish my degree, not only for me, but for my children, so that they know how important it is to A, finish this degree, and B, to finish your mission. And so yes, we're encouraging. We have programs in place, and we encourage all of our student athletes who leave and go back, leave college and go to the professional ranks to come back and finish the degree. And we make that an easy transition for them to come back. And if you've played in the league for 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, coming back to school is a little bit challenging. Things have changed, classes have changed. But I've talked to Brogan all the time, and he agrees that this is the best decision he's ever made.
Charles Woodson, is he working towards his degree?
Charles is on a little bit of a different conversation right now. Charles will actually be back in town this weekend. And that's a conversation I think War is having with Charles. We want to continue to push people like Charles to, hey, finish your degree. But that's an ongoing conversation to my knowledge.
What kind of professional opportunities are available to track athletes?
Running track professionally? There is, outside of the Olympics every 4 years, there is an international circuit called the Diamond League. The Diamond League consists of 14 major competitions all over the world. I've been privileged enough to run at 9. Monaco, France, Shanghai, Eugene, Oregon, New York, Rabat in Morocco, Paris, London, Luzerne. And so the first place prize for a lot of these races is $10,000. 8th place prize is $1,000. And so in Europe, there is
You have to pay your own expenses to get to these places?
no. There's usually you hook up with the manager, and they will say, hey, you're pretty good. I'll give you your flight, and the meet will take care of your hotel, fly you over, you race at these races. And between the meet and your agent, they take care of your travel expenses. So a lot of athletes go to Europe, and that's when we spend most of the summer traveling through Europe. Any questions?
Kind of a real broad question, Jeff. Let's look into the future 20, 30 years. And how do you envision the role of, at least big-time college athletics, being either to the university or to the individual student athletes? I mean, I think a lot of people realize that athletics can serve as sort of the front porch or the front door to the university. Just have any kind of general thoughts about where you see college athletics going?
Absolutely. I think there's going to be, college athletics is going to be at a crossroads. There's 2 paths that you can take. One is a path that I don't think we're going to go down. But one path is, hey, we're athletic department, we control all of this, and forget you, university. We don't need you. We can do all this ourselves, we're self-sustaining, and we're going to keep our athletes down here. Because you're benefiting from our athlete and the exposure that you get. Some universities may take that road. I think what's more likely to happen, especially at this university, is that athletics and the university are going to find a better way to integrate. What I mean by that, now you have a athletic director who has a master's degree, an MBA from Ross School of Business, who has a thorough understanding of how important the university is and working with the department. And so what I think is going to happen, and which is athlete plans are being put in place, is that there are going to be programs involved which our student athletes are being able to intertwine with the academic side. Meaning things like this. If I have a class, this class will be able to teach me things I need to know for my profession, for example, business marketing, but how I'm able to take that and use that in my sport. Maybe I come up with flyers and things like that we want to promote community service for our team. Maybe the information I learned in my class is going to actually provide me the opportunity to actually take our team out and showcase them to different businesses. And so what I think is going to happen is you're going to see more of this interconnected synergies between and across campus. Because we're good. There's no doubt about it. Michigan Athletics is good. Michigan Athletics is better when you add the health system, the Alumni Association, Ross, the law school, College of Pharmacy, College of Education, Engineering, Psychology, Sociology. Now, we're great. I'm really good. When I add those units together, now we're great. Because by ourselves, we can do some things. But we take kinesiology, and now we can look at how to use that information to improve the performance of our student athletes. Now we integrate kinesiology. The famous story, look at Gatorade. Gatorade was, in fact, a program, a trial run for the University of Florida to try to enhance the performance of the student athletes. And guess what? Now they're a global brand. Why not do that in Michigan? Why not try to help improve our performance? Why not try to help engage with the community? Why not try to help solve some of the world's problems? We can do that. Oh, we can change the world. Any other questions?
First, mentioning all those degree programs, you didn't mention, I'm going to plug social work because U of M is the #1 school social work for graduate programs in the U.S.
Yes,
So there's another, think up there, my husband's U of M MSW, so plug. But when you talked about motivating the student athletes, when you were saying some of the athletes, they're not interested in the college degree. They weren't that interested in the high school degree. Maybe it's a family thing, maybe it's just them. How do you get their heads out of the clouds, away from the God complex, just a big man on campus, big woman on campus? How do you try to motivate them, get them out of that and into just the importance, just how fulfilling, even personally fulfilling education can be for a lifetime?
So let me say I apologize I forgot the School of Social Work.
No.
Because
I just
Mr. Hart
wanted
has
to
the
say,
background
that's
in
another thing that U of, can be proud of. They do, for years, they've had the #1 school.
But that is an awesome question. And so that ends up back to one of the things I found in my research was, how do you take this kid who has an unbelievable amount of talent, he's smart, but he may not be interested in that field, right? Everyone has something they want to achieve. And we recruit a student athlete, we see that he has something that we want to kind of pull out of him. We see greatness and potential in this student athlete. And one thing I think that will end up happening and can continue to happen is that we get that student athlete to sit down with someone, maybe myself, maybe Miss Ward Manuel, maybe Mr. Harden, and you try to understand the student athlete's background. Because one thing we end up doing is make a lot of assumptions. If you're a football player from West Michigan, you're probably fall into this category. Well, let's talk to them. And what we do when we talk to student athletes, we start finding out their backgrounds, what they like, what they don't like. Why do they see the world in the way they see the world? Once you understand that dynamic, how and why do you see the world the way you see it? Maybe you're interested in going to the professional ranks because you're trying to provide for your family. Maybe no one's ever told you that you can earn a Michigan degree. Maybe no one's ever told you that. Maybe you're in Ohio, they said, we want you to play football and just focus on football. And that's all you come to believe. So let's understand how you constructed the world. Let's understand how you constructed the meaning. And once we're able to understand that, now I see how you see the world. Now I can alter this. Hey, have you thought about this? Or if this is your end goal, why not take this route? and we can continue to push them and showcase things that they never thought possible. Because what ends up happening is we assume, oh, they're not. They don't care about school. Well, how do you know? Well, that's based on their body language or how they act in class or how they act towards students. Have you talked to them? Well, no. How do you know them? And so as we start talking to our student athletes, as we start interacting with them, and actually on the recruiting trail, understanding their family background, that's going to be able to be a key indicator of how we can adjust their perspective. And so that's how we take those student athletes who are like, I'm really good, I don't care about athletics. I'm sorry, I don't care about school, so I'm really good, and now I am focused. I can do things like, oh, I got 4.0. We had a student athlete come in years ago who was not involved, he didn't really like class. He said, class don't teach me anything I really care about. He got involved, he got involved with one of our administrators. And we start understanding how he saw the world. So let's flip the script on him. Let's change the game. Why don't you dedicate as much time to studying as you do to your sport? Let's see what happens. He comes back and says, well, I got a 3-something GPA. I must, all right. Let's go a little bit further. Let's go a little bit further. So this is your CUME, this is semester. Why don't we try to make your CUME GPA as good as your semester GPA? Why don't we have you put as much time, effort, and energy into your studies as you do everything else for the entire year to get your cumulative GPA up? He comes back to the office and says, you want to know something funny? Well, my CUME is better than my semester GPA. You got to sit back and laugh. He said, no one ever told me that I could actually do this. And so that's how we change the mindset of our student athletes. Understanding where they come, understanding how they construct the world, how they see meaning, and then adjust from there.
How receptive, what, I don't know if you've got percentages, but how do you see that? I mean, do you see that you are able to reach a lot of them?
There are some bad news student athletes coming. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely. But you'd be surprised.
Well, but there's still parents who, I mean, I still run into parents who are telling their kids education doesn't matter.
Right? But then you'll be surprised what a little bit of understanding, compassion, and communication goes to student athletes. This is a large number of them. They come in and they have these backgrounds. And they sit down and they say, well, this is where I'm at, so deal with it. And then through that understanding, through that learning, they teach us, we teach them, and now by the time they get to a senior year, they see something completely different than when they came in.
One more question.
This isn't really a question, it's a comment. People like yourself and the other student athletes that you mentioned before that are coming back or have come back with their degrees, there's a lot of credibility right there. And if somebody says, well, I don't think so, and you say, well, I walked the walk.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I end up, and we have a program in place, is all those All-Americans that were there in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, we put them back in front of all our student athletes, not just football, not just basketball, say, hey, these are all our Americans. If you don't believe me, talk to them, because they were in your position.
Now, everything you've said, let's talk about college basketball. That's part of the deal.
College basketball is a changing environment. But college basketball still operates under the premise of the NCAA. And when college basketball says, hey, we're part of this larger group. And so we take folks, Jordan Morgan as a key example. Jordan Morgan was the leader of that 2013 basketball team off the court. Trey Burke was the star, but Jordan Morgan was the glue that held that team together. And so when folks talk about, especially basketball teams, like, hey, well, I can't do, this can't happen, I say, Jordan Morgan earned his degree in engineering. They said that he couldn't do it because class and practice conflicted. Coach Beeline said, go get your degree. And we need more coaches to push our student athletes and push student athletes around the country to say, hey, if your major conflicts with practice, go get your degree. And I take Jordan Morgan, who is back in town now, and put him right in front of the current basketball team and say, hey, listen, even if you go pro, I want you to consider Jordan Morgan as your example.
You got 2 degrees. Thank you.
Sorry.
2 degrees. And started his own foundation. and has played basketball in Greece and Paris and Rome. What a kid. Thank you, everybody.
Dr. Porter, you got us all wanting to be athletes. I don't know that I do well at football. On behalf of the Alumni Association and the Office of Government Relations, as well as the Wolverine Caucus, who are alums who work here in state government in all offices, including Governor Snyder, we want to thank you for bringing this story of Olympian athletics to Lansing today. And we have a token of our appreciation, sir. It's a gold Wolverine Caucus pen, specially designed. We hope you'll wear it alongside that beautiful maize and blue pen that you so excellently wear.
Thank you.
This is an excellent story that tells about the character and the abilities that are built. And I hope that in the future, I love the question about what we do as we go forward and how we cultivate the talent and the abilities of student athletes. And I certainly hope that that day of synergy will come when student athletes become the heads of more corporations and run more social agencies and do all of the things that teamwork they learn on the field predisposes them to do in the real world. So thank you again, Dr. Porter, and thank you, Mr. Harding, for taking the time to be here, the guy that makes it all happen. And I want to invite all of you to another special event that's coming up on May 17th, 2017. That is our annual Michigan Alumni Reception in Lansing. It'll be held at the downtown Radisson at 5 p.m. That's 5 to 6:30. And a special treat, in addition to President Schlissel joining us, Coach Harbaugh will be joining us.
Cool.
So if you'd like to meet the coach and have an opportunity to have a photograph with him, please join us again on Tuesday, May 17th at 5 p.m. at the Radisson. And then we'll see you all back here again in September for our next Wolverine Caucus Forum on the opioid epidemic. Something that our Michigan opioid epidemic team at the University of Michigan is doing a lot to help improve and curb. So without further ado, we want to thank all of you who came. We want to thank the legislative staff who are here from the offices of Representatives Bison, Senator Young, Representative Pagel, Representative Sneller, and we just thank you again, and Representative Lisinski's office. Though they're on recess, they'll get an opportunity to hear about today's presentation. And thank you again. Have a wonderful summer, and go blue.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Already definitely very much.